I'm hoping today that some of you guys can help us try to sleuth a couple problems we're having with our rig. And then I'm going to share some comments and questions and ideas that you have shared with me over the last few weeks. And then I'm going to end the video with a short hike we did in the Mokelumne wilderness area in South Lake Tahoe. So what do you do when you're on the road and something goes wrong with your rig? Who do you reach out to? Are you able to solve it? Are you able to move on? We've had our own share of things that have come up. If you have an RV, you're going to have issues. This one's kind of befuddled us, and it's actually two things, and I don't think they're related. They just happen to happen at the same time. The first one is our propane. The propane is not getting to any of our appliances. So the generator, the heater, the water heater, the refrigerator, the stovetop, no propane, except at the end of a day of driving, perhaps there will be a little bit of gas in the line, it'll light the stove, and then there's nothing. So what that has meant to us is that we have had to, it's no big deal, but we did stop and get a small little stove so we could at least cook. And that also means the refrigerator is not going to work on propane, so we haven't been able to boondock. It does work on battery. And normally, even with a three-way fridge, you can go a full night without worrying about the rig dying. And the way I know that is because I installed a Victron battery monitor and was able to judge it that way. But this leads into the second problem, which is that I don't think the alternator on the car is charging the lithium batteries. And the reason, this may have been true from the beginning, but we noticed it yesterday because the refrigerator is working on battery. And so the Victron battery monitor told me it went down to 80-something% while we were out on a cycling trip for about 4 hours. And I thought, well, no problem. When we start driving, because we had a long drive day yesterday, then it'll charge the batteries back up. But it was a cloudy day, and so there was no solar. And I know that solar recharges the battery because I've monitored that on our Victron battery monitor. So we drove all day yesterday, got to our campsite about 8 p.m. and the Victron said 56%. And so, something's wrong here. It was, cloudy, so no solar. And if the alternator is not charging the batteries, then we do have a problem. Anyway, if any of you guys have any, tell us what you think. We've checked the fuses. We've checked, everything we can think of checking. We've checked online, trying to see if the forums were any help. But if you guys have any ideas, we would love to hear them. And if we're, I don't know, I guess we'll just have to continue to hunt down RV parks with plug-ins, or we will, just have to hope for sun and to recharge our batteries during the day. But this was unusual yesterday as it was cloudy all day long as we drove through Idaho and Utah. The first comment I want to address is a really important one. Because it has to do with your safety and my installation of the Victron battery monitor. Tim R. suggested that you tape over all of the terminals. Good idea. I didn't do it till the end. And he also said take off all your jewelry, your watch, your rings, any jewelry you have, because if you should cause an arc, then you could actually lose a finger because the metal turns just red hot. And then another viewer actually said he knew someone who had almost lost a finger because of that. So thank you, Tim, so much for your safety suggestions on installing a Victron battery monitor. But I do want to say, so far I'm really pleased with the battery monitor. It is just, what's interesting is yesterday when when the Victron was showing that that we were only 56% charged on the battery, the Go Power controller here in the rig was saying 100%. So I don't know what's up with that, but maybe that's another clue to what's going on here, because I don't think the Victron is the one that's incorrect. Another viewer, Patricia Foote, said that Mercedes has recalled the 2019 rig because of the wiring harness under the passenger side seat. Some of you may recall that my neighbor came over many months ago and helped me repair that, because when you swivel the seat, if your wiring harness has gotten caught on that swivel mechanism, then it can sever that wire. Now, ours was not completely severed. It was just partially severed, and we were able to get that kind of taped back together again. I don't know what Mercedes charges, but probably a pretty penny. Now, another viewer had told me that this happened to her, and she took it in to Mercedes, and they covered it. But, you know, some dealers are going to point to Pleasureway, and Pleasureway may point back to Mercedes. You know, whoever's fault it is, just make sure you check that wiring harness to make sure it's secure and it won't get severed. A viewer said that she did get a fault on her code reader, so you know, that alerted her actually on the control panel on the vehicle. We did not, because ours was not completely severed. Another viewer, Brad Stevens, has given me all kinds of great ideas. I'm only going to share a few here because I have to go back through my messages again, or my comments again. But he was talking about some of the places in a van that you can store things that you might not be aware of. There are little kind of nooks and crannies that you can take advantage of. One of those is in our rig. There's kind of a panel sits in front of the inverter charger, not the inverter. The inverter's in here. The charge, there's something next to the batteries. There's a little false panel. You move that, and he said he built a different one. Although there is a fan in there, and you want to make sure you have plenty of air circulation. Just last night, I noticed a noise here underneath the passenger side of the sofa, and I thought, what is that? And John went around back, removed that panel, and it was the fan on, you know, keeping things cool down there. So you'd have to be careful of that. Another place in our rig, there's some places like under drawers. There's a place around the back where we store our walking sticks. You can only see it from the back if you open up the back doors. You know, do check your rig for all kinds of different places that you can stash things. Brad also mentioned that he installed another battery charger so he can charge his batteries twice as fast. His is a progressive dynamic 65 amps, and so it charges the batteries more than twice as fast. So that might be something some of you might want to look into. We also had a question from a viewer about wanting us to do an update, a one-year update on our Agile Off-Road RIP kit. And John and I recorded something just yesterday, and I'll insert that right here. Let's start. I had a comment today from someone who wanted an update, a one-year update of our Agile Off-Road RIP kit, which stands for Ride Improvement Package. And so I told him I would do it, I would include it in this video. And of course, we're in real time now, and the video is several weeks ago, but I'm gonna do that right now. We think the RIP kit is the best thing we've done to the rig.
By far.
And that's because...
Well, let's back up just a little bit, because you can't separate the RIP kit from the tires.
Yes, the RIP kit and the tires.
That's correct.
And you have to compare it to what it was, which was that it was really rugged, going over even a curb cut into a grocery, a shopping center or something. That curb cut would just rock you all over the place.
You could hit your head on the window.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you still do that, but not nearly as much. So the Ride Improvement Package also allows you to carry more weight. These rigs, when they're built, are right at the maximum.
That's correct.
And it helps in the wind a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. The spring force from the leaf springs and the additional shock absorbers really can push back on the wind, and it's much more stable.
And dirt roads, we can drive faster on dirt roads.
Faster, and it's a softer ride all at the same time. Yes.
Yeah. So I probably have 8 or 10 viewers who've also had that done, and without exception, everyone has told me that they love the Ride Improvement Package. So I don't know how many of those also did tires, but we love the tires, even though they do reduce your miles per gallon just a little bit. It's still been worth it, especially in Alaska and dirt roads. It's been great. Okay, so the bottom line is we love the rip kit. I hope this has answered all your questions. If you have more, just put them in the comments. And we're going to get back on our bikes because this is one of the most awesome bike rides we've ever been on. Here comes a truck. Let's get going. Now on to the fun part of the trip, doing adventures. When we got to South Lake Tahoe for our son's birthday, he suggested we do a family hike. He suggested we go out to Mokelumne Wilderness Area, which is something that probably if you're not a local, you may not know about this area, or you may not, most people just do the Tahoe, the Lake Tahoe, the traditional things. But it's a really nice, easy hike that you can do with kids, and it's only maybe 7-8 miles from South Lake Tahoe. You get there on Highway 88, that is just before the Kirkland ski area. There's a nice parking lot. There is usually a information booth that's staffed with rangers, but right now it is not. And it's just a beautiful hike, and we had a great time. Make fun of all the stuff.
I believe the phrase we're looking for is crap, crap, and more crap.
Our son just informed me that we are actually on the PCT right now. Here is Winnemucca Lake. This is a great, easy hike. Anybody can do this.
Your left. Smoke in the distance is the pine nut fire. There are lots of mortars here where they ground, maybe pine nuts?
Copy that.
We have 500 miles to drive today, so I'm going to get going. This is Thursday. I've got to get this thing edited and uploaded tonight, and hopefully the next spot will be in for 4 nights. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. We had a bear visit us last night in our son's driveway, and I heard it. I heard the bear try to open the door here. I yelled at it and turned the light on. It ran away, but I think just before that it had gotten our daughter-in-law's car, but there was nothing in there. So I'll show you this very light scratches that it left. And I don't know if you can see it with the camera. You can see it in person, but there are 2 little, there you go, 2 little scratches here. So you definitely want to make sure your car is locked. Because just before I went to sleep, I thought, I better check the doors.
Because the mouth is for penguin.
Oh, that's true.
So what are you building, Finn?
We are building
Turn around and tell Poppy. No, tell the
We are
camera.
building a science place for me.
A lab, right?
Yeah, a lamb.
Out of what are we using?
Cardboard box.
Weber grill we just got.
What do you think?